I got asked, and I often get asked, why did I start doing BJJ? Why do I do BJJ? Um, the short answer is I was finishing up college wrestling. I had a very close relationship with someone who already did BJJ, and they kind of influenced me to do BJJ without even knowing that they did. Um, so my last season ended. I took a week off. Was preparing for a marathon, ran a marathon, and after that marathon, I was like, heck, I'm gonna start doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because there's a little program here at Lindsey Wilson. Not particularly at Lindsey, but they would train at Lindsey, and they would also train in Somerset under a guy at Black Belt named Patches. I was like, heck, like why not? Why not do it? So I was doing it about 3 days a week. And I mean, I wasn't serious. I wasn't thinking about competing. I wasn't thinking about doing any of that stuff. I was just like, I don't really have anything else to do. There's no like real point of me wrestling anymore. So I quit wrestling. I quit wrestling, and I was like, I need something to do, and BJJ gave me that opportunity, and it was similar enough, although not similar at all, really, in some ways. It was similar enough that I felt comfortable in the new group that I was in, and everyone knew me as the wrestler, so I got to get the tough roles with the tough guys because everyone wants to beat up on the wrestler, and I love the challenge of what BJJ gave to me, like initially, and yeah, I mean that's basically what it is. I dipped my foot into it, or dipped my toes into it rather. And I was like, heck yeah, like this is a challenge. Like, everyone wants to beat up the wrestler, everyone wants to teach the wrestler, you know. Uh it's like I found a new family immediately in Columbia and Somerset with the BJJ stuff. And I just fell in love with it. So yeah, it's like initially I started it because I had someone very close to me who had been doing BJJ for a while. The reason I kept going was because I joined a totally new gym with totally new people. Um, and they had such an impact on me that I was like, damn, like I really like this. Like I really like I like the sport. Um, I like the community. I like the vibe. And I like that I have the ability to still be like a combat athlete, although a baby, an amateur, a beginner. Um, I mean, honestly, it was just an awesome and seemingly natural transition for me. And that's why I stuck with it. And then so a couple months later, I graduate college. I've been doing BJJ for 2 months at the time that I graduate college. I moved back to Louisville, and I joined the gym that the person who basically initially had an influence on me to do BJJ trained at. I joined that gym. Little I know, I had no idea. I joined the gym of the most popular BJJ YouTuber, hands down, Chewy Jiu-Jitsu. I had no idea who this guy was. I mean, I was crazy. It's like now that I look at it, like I look back at it, I'm like, how the hell did I end up at the gym with literally probably one of the most influential figures in jiu-jitsu who's not like one of the superstars as far as like a competitor and athlete. I mean, he's amazing. Don't get me wrong, he's amazing. But uh yeah, so I got to the gym with Chewy. And Chewy was also a wrestler back in the day. So we kind of had that little connection. I still didn't know who he was really. So that's not exactly the reason I stayed there or here because that's where I'm at now. But I like the fact that the coach was a previous wrestler and that he was patient with me, and that again there were a lot more people at this gym than there were at my first initial gym. Um, I mean, I just made a lot of friends. I came back to Louisville. I initially had no friends in Louisville anymore. I was born and raised in Louisville, but man, as life goes, you grow apart from people. I stayed at Lindsey Wilson College for 4 years, 5 summers, and I'm sorry, 4 summers, 4 years, and I lost my connection with essentially everybody in Louisville except for one or two guys. Um, and again, jujitsu gave me connections. It gave me a community, and it gave me challenges. So at first, like I told you guys, like I wasn't going to compete in jujitsu at first. Nah, I thought like, man, whatever. I don't need to compete in jujitsu. It's I'm just here to train, whatever, blah blah blah. And then Chewy was just like, hey man, you know, would love to, after a couple months. So I guess like May to August. So after 2 months, Chewy was like, hey dude, like we would love to have you compete like and like this like local naga, you should try it out. And everyone in the gym was like, man, you should compete, you'll kill it, whatever. And so I guess this was 4 months into me training BJJ. I went to Naga, which is just a little organization. I mean, it's actually a pretty big organization, but it's like a more amateur level competition. Not to say that it's easy, as you'll hear in a second. I went to the local Naga, faced a tough guy in my bracket, the open weight. He was a purple belt. I was a white. I ended up beating him. I took his back at the very end. Had no idea what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but at that time, I really had no idea what I was doing. And yeah, and then in the next match, I did the open weight class, nogi, and I got heel hooked. Literally, so I faced one of my teammates, and then the next match, I faced a brown belt, my first ever brown belt, or above competition, and I got heel hooked. And like, I hit a blast double. Guy rolled underneath my legs, heel hooked me. Maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. The match lasted, and I was like, damn, like this is wild. Like I just got beaten like a minute and 30. Like this doesn't happen. This has never happened to me. And from there on, I was like, crap, like I want to get good at this stuff. Like I really like this. I never thought I was going to compete. I told myself after I finished wrestling, there is no way I'm gonna compete in jujitsu. No way, 0% chance. And then I get convinced to do this naga. I compete. I get heel hooked immediately, and I'm like, whoa, I love this. Like, yo, like I just lost, but hey, I love this. How do I prevent that from happening again? It's like the spark came back because like when my wrestling career ended, I wanted nothing and still want nothing to do with like competing in wrestling. And that sport is done for me. And I think I associated that finish with sports in general. And then that jujitsu competition really like sparked it in me again to say, hey, dude, you need to compete. Like you're not done. You're young. You're in your prime. Like let's get after it. And so I got obsessed, man. I got obsessed, and right around the corner, I believe 2 months later, was Worlds. Worlds, Blue Belt Worlds. And so I was 6 months into training jujitsu when I competed at Worlds, and I guess really with true intentional training, probably 3 months in. So 6 months, so a half a year into training, and I joined Blue Belt Worlds, or I signed up for Blue Belt Worlds. Chewy signed me up. He sponsored me. I mean, he took care of me, and I went. I felt like I had some like jujitsu now to where I could like compete with the blue belts and stuff. And I knew I had because again at that past now I did the gi at blue belt and I just smashed it. But purely with like wrestling and crazy arm bars. But at this tournament, I was like, hey man, I actually know a little bit of jujitsu now. Like I had gotten obsessed after I got heel hooked, and I was like working on how not to get heel hooked, trying to take people's backs from heel hooks, like learning so much new crap. And so I signed up for the Blue Belt Worlds. I ended up getting the very last seed because I had never done a jiu-jitsu tournament. So I was seeded 33rd out of 33 guys. And I drew the one seed first round, but he actually didn't even show up, which is weird. I never heard of that. So then I had like another like mid seed guy next right after this, and I smashed him purely just wrestling. I probably took him down like 10 times. I felt like it was ridiculous. Like I didn't need to do that. And then I won my next match, and then I won my next match, and then I won my next match, and then I was in the finals of Blue Belt Worlds, and I was like, oh fuck, like I'm in the finals of the world tournament. Of course, it's guys. It's just Blue Belt Worlds. It's not even we don't consider it real worlds. All right, but it's for me, it was like the biggest thing I'd ever done, like on scale. I've never won anything or even made it to the finals in anything called Worlds. So it was a pretty special moment initially. And now, like, I look back and I'm like, it's a fucking joke, right? Because it's a joke. It's Blue Belt Worlds. Anyone can win it. Any really half decent wrestler can win it. So, anyways, I make it to the finals, and I go against actually another guy who wrestled in the NAI. Funny enough, I think it was Martin Espinoza. He wrestled for Menlo, I believe, and he was pretty decent, tough dude. I end up getting a couple takedowns, and then at the very end, he takes a bad shot. I defend, get behind him, and submit him with an armbar, and I win Blue Belt Worlds. I'm going crazy. I won Blue Belt Worlds, blah, blah, blah. Then I go into the absolute. I make it to the finals. I get a couple submissions, a Darce, an armbar, win by decision. And then I make it to the finals against Michael Pixley, who happened to also wrestle at Lindsay at one point and was also NAI national champion. I get snapped down to my face and guillotined in like 10 seconds. Had no idea what a guillotine was. So again, lots of people were like, yo, like you're basically getting humiliated on live television. You're getting your ass beat. You're doing a lot of, you're just doing a lot of losing. And for me, like someone in my position was not losing very much the past 4 years. I lost 19 matches in college. 15 of those losses coming that first season at Lindsay. And had just 4 of those came like the following years. So I wasn't losing very often. And then in jiu-jitsu, I go in and I've freaking lost twice in a 2-month span. It doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but it was a lot to me. And so I get second in the absolute, first in my weight, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Like, I'm at Worlds. It's not like it's Blue Belt Worlds, but I'm at Worlds. I'm competing at Worlds. I'm making all these new friends. And then I get to see the black belts compete, the brown belts and the purple belts compete. And I'm like, whoa, like I want to be just like those guys. And I saw like there's a guy named Alex Grundy, I believe, purple belt world champ, and he wrestled Division I, really good wrestler. He won Worlds at purple. And then I saw like brown belt. There was I think Lance Palmer, I believe his name, from Ohio State. He won brown belt Worlds. And then at black belt, I saw Elliot Kelly. He got 3rd place at Black Belt Worlds, college Division I college wrestler for the University of North Carolina. And I'm like, dude, like I'm meeting all these guys, I'm learning about these guys, and I'm like, I'm starting to see myself in these guys. Like, I'm seeing myself and Alex is the purple belt. I'm seeing myself as the guy who won brown belts and the guy who won black belts and who are all past wrestlers and who achieved their goals in BJJ. And I was like, dude, this is kind of cool. Like I can do it. Like I can be someone who can transition from wrestling and actually be really good at this sport. And then so I was like, well, what's next? And then of course, every single person who's ever wrestled has seen the Nicky Rod like black belt Slayer film. And it pumps you up and makes, okay, so what's next? ADCC is what's next. So I took off competition for a couple of months. What was it? 2 + 4, so 6 months. 6 months I didn't compete. I just trained, 100% training, and I trained a shit ton. And I was starting a business and everything, so there was a lot of reasons for me not to compete. But the biggest thing was just me training and actually getting better at jiu-jitsu. I ended up going to B team in Austin, Texas, for a week. Trained, got like 12 training sessions in while I was there. Made a lot of friends, got a lot better at jiu-jitsu. Came back to Louisville, trained a shit ton under Chewy. Again, getting my business together. And then I ended up getting my blue belt. I ended up getting my blue belt, I don't know, maybe in March. I believe in March I got my blue belt. So about exactly a year into me actually participating in jiu-jitsu, I get my blue belt from Chewy, Nick Albin, and I'm super excited. I was super excited about that. I'm still excited about it. It's pretty freaking awesome. And that was just another catalyst for me to be like, yo, like, this is crazy. Like, I just got a blue belt. I remember when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, I was like, man, belts are fucking stupid. I said that shit. I was like, belts are fucking, stupid. And wrestling, there's not belts. You don't get a belt. Like, these are like the things I was saying. And then in that moment that I actually got my blue belt, I was like, dude, this is this is awesome. Like, I feel so happy. This is what? Like, it's almost like getting a report card and you see that you've gotten all A's. Obviously for me, it's like level 1, first grade report card, right? But it was huge. It was huge for me. And then, after that moment, I was like, whoa, like, dude, like I'm sticking with this. Like I'm staying here. Of course, I had doubts. Of course, I was thinking about taking big college wrestling jobs. Of course, I was thinking about all those things. And that all passed. That all passed. Um, so I got my blue belt. And about a month ago. And then here comes this past recent weekend. I have ADCC trials. I've been looking forward to doing ADCC stuff since I started doing jujitsu. Like I said, we watched we watched the Gordon Ryan the King documentary, we watched Nikki Rod the Black Belt Slayer. These like videos like are, I mean, I've watched them 10, 15 times each. You know what I mean? These videos had motivated me and inspired me so much that I was like, man, this is the tournament to go to. And I think that happened to a lot of people because, because of Nikki Rod, because of Gordon Ryan and others, dude, I participated in the biggest ADCC trials ever. And there was 1,000+ competitors and it was awesome. It was super hype. And I won my first match via armbar, and then I lost my second match to Cal Bame, a really good black belt, the 1 seed. But he took my back and submitted me with a rear naked choke. But I wasn't ashamed, man. I was like, this is freaking awesome. Like, I'm here. I'm in Vegas. I'm sponsored to come do these tournaments. Like, I'm living the freaking life. And I'm a baby again. And again, in wrestling, like, regardless of win or lose, I was always expected to be a tough match. Right? Whether I wrestled a Division I national champion, All American, I was expected to be a tough match. Or I was expected to even possibly beat, some of these higher level Division I guys, and I did often do that. If it was against D2 below guys, I was always beating them. I would lose to a couple, and I'd beat a couple. So I was always in the fight with wrestling, for the last couple of years of my wrestling career. And like the perspective is like, damn, I go from like winning everything. I mean, I was winning everything with wrestling. I mean, anything you can name for me to do, I was winning it. I got most outstanding wrestler. I got wrestler of the year. I undefeated national champion, 3 national titles, 4 All-Americans, MSC wrestler of the year, countless MSC and NAI awards, I won everything in wrestling. And then I came to, and I had all this attention and people knew who I was. And now in this jiu-jitsu world, it's like, who the fuck are you, dude? No one cares. Like, you wrestled. Okay, that's cool. That's cute. Whatever. All right, get on now. And that's how it is. And that's why I love it, is because it's like, yo, I'm a baby right now, but I've been through the process. Like, and I know the process. And I know that, let's say 10 years from now when I'm, 30, 33, 34, I mean, I believe that I'll have some impact on this sport. And this sport has already had a huge impact on me. And that's why I keep doing it, is this everything I told you about, like my experiences so far, the people I've met, the training, the competition, the winning, the losing, all of it. Jiu-jitsu has given me a revitalized sense of life. It's given me the ability to compete again. It's given me the ability to lose and to learn and to win and to celebrate. And yeah, that's why I started jiu-jitsu. And that's why I keep doing jiu-jitsu, and that's why I'll keep doing jiu-jitsu. It's a new life. I love it. I'm a baby. And one day I will be coming after someone with a big name, or not. Who knows? I'll do my best. I guess that's it, guys. That's why I started jiu-jitsu. That's why I keep doing jiu-jitsu, and that's why I love jiu-jitsu. Wrestlers, if you guys don't know what to do after you're finished wrestling, or even any athletes, try jiu-jitsu out, try martial arts out. Because what we did in college, what we did in high school, like those are almost more of jobs. Like I always felt like it was a little bit of a job. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but you had to do homework. You had to do all this other shit. And it was almost, sometimes it just felt super forced. And like with jujitsu, it's like you still get to stay healthy. You get to stay active. You get to learn self-defense. You get to do all these other things. And you get to grow as a person continuously for the rest of your life, regardless of how old you are. Jiu-jitsu accepts people from, 3 years old to 90, whoever shows up. You know what I mean? And I think that's the great thing about jiu-jitsu that other sports, including wrestling, don't really have, at least not to scale. That's it, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. Again, I'll try to do more of these. I know I get asked a lot of questions that are hard to answer and hard to put on the YouTube channel because they're a bit long. But I'll do my best. I really appreciate you guys for listening. If you have any more questions, go ahead and send them to me. You can send them to me at BrandonReed3x@yahoo.com. You can put them down in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, however you want to get your question to me, do it. I'd love to answer it. Let's see you guys soon.